Okay, so I'm going to try to see if we can't get a reading group started up going on for this book called On Dialogue by David Bohm. Now, this is a tiny, this is a tiny little book. As you can see it, it's all said and done. It's under 100 pages, and it's pretty large font. So I don't think it would be that difficult of a book for people to get. Now, I don't know how much the book costs. You'd have to look around for it. But David Bohm is a wonderful scholar to look at for this issue of dialogue. He he was so concerned, as a physicist who was very familiar with quantum mechanics. He has an early book on quantum mechanics. He was so concerned over the inability of the Einstein-Bohr contingencies to come together and actually engage in dialogue. And this book is such a great, it's a simple, clear, very accessible, I guess, orientation toward what dialogue is and how people might be able to understand themselves and communication and, I guess, the world for a more sane, possibly a better future. If people don't know this, I would say that the thing to check out is the many things that Bohm has done with Jiddu Krishnamurti. Now, I think the best thing, from my own perspective, that he did with Krishnamurti is a book called Ending of Time. I don't have that right here right now. One that I do have is called The Awakening of Intelligence, and this does have a couple of different dialogues that he did with Bohm. It also has some stuff that he did with Jacob Needleman, and there are just really wonderful things that you can find between Krishnamurti and Bohm on YouTube that might help ease people into seeing very different perspectives come together. And I think I'll just say a couple more things, and I'm going to see if I can post some links down in the bottom here to help prime the reading group. And we'll try to do this, I guess, over the next couple of weeks. There are, what are there, about 6, 7 chapters? I think there are 7 chapters, so maybe we'll just do one every couple of days, and that way if people can get it, we can talk about each of those chapters. I think the thing to look at in these dialogues that I'll post below are to understand how different of a worldview Bohm has from Krishnamurti. I mean, Krishnamurti, kind of a, what, Indian mystic guru, and Bohm, a Western physicist. And they use very different languages when they talk with one another, but you can see a willingness in, certainly in Bohm, maybe more than in Krishnamurti, but you can see a willingness to suspend his own initial reactions and simply see if he can't understand what the other is saying. So I think so many people, when they interact, they first believe that they're a person over here, and then they believe the other person's over there, and then they think that each person has their own beliefs, and those beliefs need to be something that you're proud of, or something you're embarrassed of, or something you need to defend. And then they try to convince the other person that they're right in their beliefs and try to win it as many adherents as they can to their position. And I think Bohm is so skeptical of that. I think instead of that, he's saying maybe all of those are just assumptions. Maybe there's only a kind of collective thought, a kind of participative thought, and we can occasionally, for practical purposes, try to argue about who had originally an idea and whose thought one has or whose beliefs one is adopting. But there's a much more general sense in which thought itself ebbs and flows in between people. And I think Bohm is very good at, again, suspending his own reaction, observing thought as it flows both out of himself and in between other people, and as well as it comes from other people. And I think he wants to just see to what extent can thought make itself coherent by not one person giving and exchanging and us coming to agree with a person who won, but can we, in bringing forth the thought to which we've already grown accustomed, Can we make something together? Can we share with one another in such a way that what comes together in the dialogue is something we can observe and possibly come to just be more aware of our own thought, how thought relates to feelings, and how dialogue has certain kinds of obstacles, or how dialogue becomes, I guess, maybe easy or maybe more facilitated. Okay, so please, if you don't have a copy, find your library, get a library copy, buy a copy. Wonderful little book. There are other versions of it. I think there is a newer version. Um, the point of the story is, let's talk a little bit more about dialogue from who, in my opinion, is a well-informed scientist who also has enough understanding of spirituality to understand non-dogmatic forms of a kind of intelligence that is in the cosmos